The final thing I'm going to show you in this lesson is how to make a simple graph. Through the course we're going to make quite a lot of different graphs, but in this small lesson we're just going to do one simple type of graph, and that's the XY scatter plot or the bivariate scatter plot, just to give you a feel for how you can make a graph. You've probably made this graph in R before, and you've probably used a function called plot to do so. We're going to do something a little bit different now and for the rest of the course, and that's use a function called qplot, which is short for quick plot, to make this graph and more or less all other graphs that we're going to make during the course. The reason why we're going to use qplot or quick plot instead of plot is because with qplot it's just as easy to do the very simple graphs. It's easier to do slightly more complex or even much more complex graphs, and also qplot and the package in which it is, ggplot2, is actually really becoming a standard for people that use R. So it's a very good thing to learn, and you'll find that it's somewhat challenging like many things in R, but also one can get the hang of it quite quickly. So we'll be walking through a lot of ways to use qplot to make lots of different graphs, but now we're just going to look at the scatter plot. Like I said, qplot exists within a package called ggplot2. Now, you may not know what these packages are, that will be explained soon in the course, very soon. For now, just work along with me and take it that qplot exists within that package ggplot2, and I'll show you now how to get that package so you can work with that. So the first thing to do to get that package is to install it onto your computer. And we type install packages ggplot2 and run that line with Command Enter. And my computer says it wants to update a bunch of things and restart R. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't happen. I just press OK and let the computer do its thing. There we go. Nearly done, and it's all done. So that package is now installed onto my computer, and I need to load it into R's head, and I do that by typing library ggplot2 and running that. Oops, just like that. We get a little warning message, but that's not too important. Okay, so now we're ready to make this plot, and we're going to use the function, like I said, we're going to use the function qplot. As with many functions, or all functions, we have the name of the function, qplot, and then an open bracket and a closed bracket, and we put the things that we give to the function in these brackets. The first thing that we give, well, we've got to think about what we're going to plot. Let's make a graph of x3 on the x-axis and x4 on the y-axis. Now, x4 is, it's here, it's just x3. Actually, let's do something a little bit different. Just run all that to make sure it's running. And now we'll make x4 x3 squared. Okay, so we'll make a graph of, like I said, x3 on the x-axis and x4 on the y-axis, and we just made x4 the square of x3. That's it. This should create a graph. I just run that. Good, and in this window we get a XY scatter plot, x3 on the x-axis, x4 on the y-axis. How does qplot know which to put on which axis? Well, it's just got this convention that the first variable that we give it goes on the x-axis and the second goes on the y-axis. We can see that by default, the default behavior of qplot is to make a scatter plot with points corresponding to the data. So that's what we have. We can change many things about this graph. For our purposes today, we're just going to change one thing. Let's change this to be a line graph. Now, we do that by saying this strange thing, geom equals, and then line. Geom is short for geometry. That's like what geometric shape do we want the data to be represented by. The default, like we said, was points, and now we're saying instead of points, please make the geometry a line, and the line is in these double quotes. Let's run that, Command Enter. Perfect, and we get a line. Super. Like I said, there's lots of other things that we can do with qplot. We actually use qplot to make all sorts of graphs like histograms. You could have a go at that if you like, and also box and whisker plots, and many different types of graphs. So it's a very nice function that's very powerful, and we can add lots of things to it as well. Right, so that's all for this lesson. You should know that you'd have R now and be getting comfortable writing instructions in a script file, not typing them into the console, but sending the instructions from the script file to the console. You've got some experience of several different instructions, kind of simple maths through to using functions like the log function and qplot. It's really important that you're comfortable with this, because this is the foundation of your R life, and making sure that you're comfortable with it is going to make you have a much more comfortable life and enjoy this course much more. So if you don't understand something, get on the discussion forum and ask questions about it, and we can work that out. Thanks very much.